What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mega Dads Uncensored. That's right. My co-host, founding member of Mega Dads, Adam, is taking a much needed vacation, a little bit of a rest, a little siesta, and we are taking over the Mega Dads airwaves, talking to you, all the fans, about all the stuff that Adam will not allow us to talk about on the regular Mega Dads Live podcast. Check us out at megadads.com. Check us out at megadads/YouTube. We are YouTube/megadads. We are here with none other than JB, Megadad's team member, The Rock, IT specialist, amazing connoisseur, jack of all trades. JB, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, this is the thing, right? We don't get to chat. We don't get to do the podcast. We're free. Do you understand? Do you understand like the power that we have right now that we are wielding? I am so excited.
I don't think I'm ready.
You're not. You are totally not. How's your soul? Everything going good?
Everything's good.
I wanted to prepare you.
Life is good.
Ahead of this conversation, I said, and I quote, we want to talk about something super controversial on the podcast, right? So I was like, are you prepared to argue that Dragon Quest is a better franchise than Final Fantasy? And you said no, that I was a madman. And it's true. I am more of a Final Fantasy fan, but I thought it would be cool today to have you try to convince me about what the appeal is for Dragon Quest. So as long story short, all I have to say about it is I am more of a Final Fantasy person. I've played about half the games really deep, love the top 3, like 10, 7, etc. But Dragon Quest, I've only dabbled in. But when I do play it, I'm super excited for it. So what Dragon Quest game are you playing now? And what is special about it? Remember from your chest that Adam would not let us talk about this. Tell me what's up.
All right. Let me ask you this. Before we start all that, can you remember a single commercial for a Final Fantasy game?
Only one. It was Final Fantasy VII, and I think it was an actual like clip of the like Midgar thing, like in the intro. But that was, I mean, if we're gonna be real, that was 60% of the game, 60% of why people love that game. I mean, I'm one of them, and that one clip really held a lot of water over the years, didn't it? So yeah, that was the only TV commercial I saw, was the Midgar intro of Final Fantasy VII.
All right. Imagine, if you will,
Yes.
1980, mid 80s. A commercial comes on TV.
I was a sperm at the time.
What?
I was born in 85.
You know,
I could have been a sperm. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Do you know who Casper Van Dien is?
No.
He was the actor. He's in Starship Troopers, a couple of other things.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about now. Okay, continue, sir. Good, sir.
I remember a commercial of him riding a dragon selling Dragon Warrior 1 on the NES. And he was saying that if you sign up for Nintendo Power Magazine, if you get a subscription, they will send you a free copy of the game. That is how I got into Dragon Warrior, which is Dragon Quest. But in the US, it was Dragon Warrior.
Okay, got it.
It was.
I'm not crazy for getting the names mixed up. I keep telling him like Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest. So like, okay, cool. All right, we're good.
All right, so that's what sold me on the series. I borrowed it from a friend. I got the subscription to Nintendo Power, got my free game, and I was hooked. That game was hard, and I was 7 or 8 years old at the time. And they're throwing out words like thou and thee and thine and shall. And I couldn't even read English all that well at that point, but I was in it at the time. And then, I played that one. I played Dragon Warrior 2 and 3 with some cousins at the time. And then I hadn't played the series in a long time since. And then I think it was 11 came out for the Switch and the PS4. And then like a definitive edition of 11 came out with all this extra stuff. And I got into that, and it was just gorgeous. And it instantly took me back to that 7-year-old feelings of classic RPG. I mean,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy was so scared of Dragon Quest that they put little Easter eggs in Final Fantasy One. You would explore a tombstone and it says, "Here lies Erdrick." They were taking crap shots at these other games because they were afraid of the power that they have. In
Wow.
Japan, like the whole of civilization in Japan shuts down when a new Dragon Quest game comes out because it's that popular. It is just insane over there. So I get the appeal of Final Fantasy, but Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest, it's always the start. It was my start in RPGs, and everything that came after that is from Dragon Warrior. So yeah, it's awesome.
So for me, I look at the games, I look at the franchises, and all I knew was Final Fantasy. And then it was like very apparent to me that the legacy of Dragon Quest, Dragon Warrior was like deeper. Even like becoming an RPG fan, because Final Fantasy VII was my first JRPG. Like Dragon Quest, Dragon Warrior was just like in the zeitgeist already as I started to learn about what it was. So I think it has a leg up on like legacy, right? It's like who started it, who's more true, and like one of the things that people talk about is like Final Fantasy deviates, they shoot for the fences, they try to like elevate, but like sticking to the roots is what, Dragon Quest is known for. And when I boot up a Dragon Quest game, I think like I was sharing in the Mega Dads Discord, join anytime, it's free, everybody, that you can like get into the series at any point and like get a good taste. But I did the remaster. It was like, was it 10 or 11? The Elysian Age or whatever it's called. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
You could switch between the 2D and 3D, and I was like,
right.
the amount of passion that it must have taken to like make that game, like it's pretty profound. When I boot up the game, honestly, the thing that gets me is the visuals. So tell me about visually, does that matter to you? Is that one of the defining characteristics you think of Dragon Quest, or does that not rank as high for you and it's more about like story, sticking to the roots? What do you think about that? Because the visuals stand out to
I
me.
mean, yeah, the visuals definitely stand out and bring in like so they did 11, which was more of a modern aesthetic, and then the switching to 2D at any point is amazing. But they've since done remakes of one, two, three, and I think seven. And one, two, and three, they went with the 2D HD or HD 2D style,
Yeah.
and it's just incredible. But you're right. I mean, a lot of it's consistent across almost every game in the series. Like even in 11 in the remakes, like the a lot of the 8-bit sound, like the victory
The
fanfare,
sound,
like that's all,
the
yeah,
sound,
that's
the
all
music is
still
huge.
there from
Yeah.
like 30 years ago. And it's got these great callbacks. The monsters are all the same. And
Yeah.
they put great, like the sense of humor that goes into it. Like Final Fantasy, I think, tries to take itself so seriously sometimes, whereas Dragon Quest, it's about that kitschy humor, the fun, the stupid inside jokes that just persist throughout the whole series. And it's got a lifestyle of its own. It's really cool. But yeah, the graphics, like they've done the 8-bit, they've done the 16-bit, they've had releases on every console from the Famicom up till PS4, PS5, and Switch. And like they try these different styles, and they're all great because they all have that same skeleton of the game and the lore, and it's incredible.
It's funny you said that, and I should have clarified before. The visual style of anything modern is incredible to me. Like I played a couple different ones, but like once they went to like the bubbly, I don't know if there's a proper word for it, but these eyeballs are like really big and pronounced, like huge spheres with
Right.
like a little dot, and like they're on some slimes, but it was on a dragon when I played this game, and I was
Hmm.
like, I melted. Like I love Final Fantasy 7, it's epic. I love Final Fantasy 10. I wept at the relationships in that game. But when I saw this dragon with his like beady eyes, I was like,
Oh yeah.
something inside me as like there's something about like Nintendo and gaming where it's so pure, it's so like back to basics. It's like incredible. I want to share a little fun thing. Again, everyone out there know that Adam would not allow this, and I'm not surprised why, because I'm going to talk really quick about the story. Here are the top 3 Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest stories, right? So this is Final Fantasy VII. A soldier joins an eco-terrorist group to fight a corrupt corporation draining the planet's life force. That's the top synopsis of a Final Fantasy plot. So that's their story. Here's Dragon Quest V. Spanning generations, you follow a hero from childhood to adulthood as he searches for the legendary hero, builds a family, and ultimately confronts a great evil threatening the world. Do you see like the mix of like the melodrama? Like it's taking itself so seriously, and it's not that it ends up being a bad story, but it's funny. It's like it's it's crazy. I'll hit on the Dragon Quest other synopses. So just to hit one more because it was funny. A silent hero accompanies a cursed king and princess on a journey to lift a wicked spell, pursuing the jester Madongmegalus across a vibrant world. That's Dragon Quest 8, Journey of the Cursed King. Rest my case, right? Like, I mean, you're totally right. What you said about like it taking itself kind of seriously. Like, come on, like that's interesting. And I agree with you that the music is like, I mean, Final Fantasy has like killer music. Let's not lie, but Dragon Quest can hold its own. It's like really interesting. What Dragon Quest game did you say you were playing most recently?
So most recently, I was playing the Dragon Quest One HD 2D remake.
Do you like if there was one thing about this game where you had to sell it on to me in like an elevator pitch, what would it be?
All right, if you've played Dragon Warrior back in the 80s on the NES, take that, ramp it up to 50, and you'll have this new game. I mean, they went back and redid everything of it. The combat's still the same, but they added side quests. They added 2 new races of characters. They added a whole subplot of like 8 helping fairies to help dwarves to get this equipment. Whereas in the old one, you just go to this guy and he'd give you what you need. But like you've got all this side quest stuff. I don't know if you remember from 10, but there's like this other side quest of collecting mini medals and you give them to a guy and he gives you equipment. They brought that in. There was none of that in the original. It's locked some killer equipment behind it, but at its heart, the story, the exploration, the enemies, the sounds, the music, it's all still there. It's just a definitive edition of a 40-year-old game, and it's incredible.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It sounds really good. I think like just completely honest, if I'm picking an RPG, a JRPG especially, I do look for accessibility and I look for like the first, the first 8 hours of JRPG can like, it could take a long time. Like you're ramping up into it. There's like a pacing to it. Does this game have quality of life and how is the pacing? Is it typical JRPG? Hey, you're going to have to like deal with that type of thing. It's not unique. I mean, all JRPGs do this, so it's not fair to be like, oh, it has to. But how do you think about that experience?
This game was hard as shit. All right. It was an immediate grind. Like,
Whoa.
depending on your first weapon, you've got like 2 hours of grinding gold just to get a better weapon. This one is infinitely more accessible. You can change settings. So there's 3 difficulty settings. Draki Quest, Dragon Quest, and like Dragon Lord Quest or something like that.
Whoa.
So you can make the enemies as easy or tough as you like. And then there's other settings. You can set it so that you're invincible, so that you don't take any damage. And like you still deal with the tactics for defeating the enemies and stuff, but you don't have to worry about healing or anything like that afterwards. There's other things like you can pretty much have the game fight for you and think and analyze enemy weaknesses and do commands on your behalf. Or you can choose to go through your inventory and say, I want to use this attack, I want to use this spell or this ability. And even taking it to that level, you can set like if you're fighting undead, they're weak to a certain ability. you can toggle something that will show you like this enemy is weak to this ability, you should use that. Or you can turn that off and you just have your standard set of abilities and it's completely up to you. And I mean, I did that a couple of times on these instead of fighting for hours to figure out, the random number generation of defeating a boss. I'd lower the difficulty or I'd turn on the vulnerability identifiers and it would help out a lot in that fight. And then there's everyone hates a grind of an RPG, but it's necessary. You got to build yourself up, get new skills, get more hit points, all that. You can change the battle speed so it's like slow, where you can take your time and read out, okay, I deal 5 damage to this, and the enemy is asleep or the enemy is poisoned and all that. Or you can go like super fast where it does all the actions, but it's not like, it doesn't count on you reading it. It's just bam bam, you're through the battle and you're off to the next one. And so I think that helps a lot of getting past that JRPG. I have to fight for hours to do a boss. I have to hunt for all this treasure. And it really makes it more accessible for anyone to enjoy.
That sounds great. Like I played Bravely Default on Switch when it came out. And it was like, oh, Switch 2, let me try a JRPG. And it had the quality of life. And you could fast forward and you can set like presets for like what you wanted your characters to do. But I think that if you're gonna do that point, which I used it, if you're gonna do it, like you also need a battle system that like is conducive to that, because even with that system, it was just so like, it was a little bit complicated if you wanted to optimize. So it was hard to do a preset. But what you're saying, it sounds like it would be easier. It's like, hey, look, you're already gonna be using it, it's okay. Like, and the games are a little bit more simplistic. Final Fantasy keeps molding and changing what it is with like active battle and like
right.
I mean, don't even get me started on what Final Fantasy has become as far as like different spreading genres, like more action, like active time battle versus all these things.
Right.
It has the gamut. But again, true to its roots. It looks like, Dragon Quest, the old school Dragon Warrior fans they're eating good. Final question.
Oh,
if a new game was announced and it was like, oh, the brand new mainline Final Fantasy game's coming, or the brand new mainline Dragon Quest game was coming, which one would you be more excited for?
I'd have to go with Dragon Quest, honestly.
He said it. He said it.
I know. I said it. And it's unironically, and it's true. Adam's going to fire me.
Adam, oh my God.
The way, and you're right, the way Final Fantasy is changing, it is so far from that core turn-based JRPG, deep lore stuff that it can't compete with Dragon Quest for what it is at the roots. If they did a pure, Final Fantasy 16 level graphics with a Dragon Quest story, that hands down, that would be my pick, and it would be amazing. And throw in the 8-bit tunes and all the kitschy throwbacks and all that. Make it HD, and I mean, Square Enix could solve world hunger with the money they'd bring in at that point.
Let's hope so. I mean, yeah, RPGs, JRPGs in particular, they're not doing poorly. So I think now is about the time for that next one that's just going to blow our minds. And I am very excited for the next Dragon Quest. Like, I was thinking, should I go back and play some older ones? Should I play the next one? I think I'm ready and I'm excited. And that is what happens when you unleash the rest of the Mega Dads team, Adam. Okay, thank you for joining us for an episode of Mega Dads Uncensored, talking about all the things that Adam won't let us talk about. Thank you for joining me today, JB. Thank you for joining us, all of you Fantasy, Dragon Quest, and old school Dragon Warrior fans. We'll see you next time.